COVID changed everything about how I imagined my first semester at Sewanee would be. It was the fall of 2020, and I stayed home in Minnesota. I took classes from the back of a tent, and the most I knew of my classmates was the back of their heads, or the blank Zoom screens. It was exhausting to try and care about something so far away that didn't seem to care about me. The Sewanee experience was not it. Except for one thing, my fellow baby bonners. They were the first people I knew at Sewanee and my first friends. It was easy to see how much they loved it on campus, which gave me hope. I was also encouraged by the work that I did with my sites, BetterFi and the Young Farmers Coalition. I knew there were brighter days ahead. Coming to campus, I was nervous I would have trouble making friends with people who already had solidified friend groups. I remember the first time I heard someone complain about the bubble. Coming from 9 months in my room, it was so odd to me that someone could have a problem with the 13,000 acres of newfound freedom. I found friends, deep conversations at Morgan Steep, sunsets, and a new home. I added the university farm to my list of sites, and I loved spending time with the goats and the other volunteers. I also took Civic 200 and learned about models of community action. It was the foundation that allowed me to take action in my own newly formed student communities. To this day, I still think of my second semester as my first. The ever-widening circle of Sewanee grew yet again in my sophomore year. The bubble was broken, and I began to work at Housing Sewanee. From working in my grandfather's welding shop to learning woodworking with my dad, building had always been a part of my life. Now I got to share it with my new friends in a constructive way. I became closer to my fraternity brothers and brought them along, and I joined a club called the Crafting Guild and watched new people fall in love with my old passion as we built houses together. Later in the semester, I was tasked with starting a makerspace on campus. As I worked to make this community space a reality, I began to envision the ways it would encourage even more students to get involved with service right on campus. From dog toy making for the local dog shelter to sewing bags for charity, I hoped the makerspace could become a place for building an on-campus community centered around service, and I was immediately reminded of Bonner. I had realized that spreading my passion for community service was really important to me, and I began to wonder how I could best do that through my work as a Bonner. After meeting with Robin to talk about how junior year might look, I began working for the OCE program, Pathways to Civic Engagement. The goal was to work with student organizations to connect them with local organizations for short-term, high-capacity involvement. Through both success and failure, I learned the importance of timely communication from an organizer's perspective. We were able to get statistics about campus-wide service interest and put on quite a few successful events like puppy yoga with Theta Pi and building structures for Easy's dog shelter with the Crafting Guild, among others. You may be sensing a theme in my examples. Many of them are geared toward the dog shelter. In my last semester at Sewanee, I landed with community partners that truly clicked. One is the farm, my favorite from freshman year, and the other is the dog shelter. I eventually became such a dedicated volunteer to the shelter that I fostered a dog with the possibility of adopting him for my next steps at grad school in St. Louis. Through Bonner, I found meaning at my sites and with others in the program. It inspired me to look for ways to improve the community in all my activities. The biggest lesson that Bonner has taught me is that it is always possible to carve out space for yourself and the ones you care about. Leaving is a bittersweet task, but after 6 semesters enrolled at the University of the South and 5 in Sewanee, I can say that against all odds, I truly found my place. I can only hope that the people I meet in the rest of my life are half as excellent as those I found here.